How many people do you know right now that are living according to the dominance or under the dominance of outside or external conditions or circumstances? It's most of the world, but it's fewer by the day because more and more people are discovering this truth. More and more people are discovering that the inner world creates the outer world, and that by mastering the movements of the attention in the inner world, you can become master of your fate. The world is waking up. All right, welcome back to another episode of Daily Neville. I am your host, Josiah Brandt, and Daily Neville is a show all about making Neville Goddard's teachings easy to understand, easy to digest, easy to apply in 20 minutes or less. Today, we are continuing with episode 12, and this is chapter 12 of The Power of Awareness. And this chapter is titled Subjective Control. Neville writes, "Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention." Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. Now, we talked about attention at length in the episode titled Attention. We talked about how your attention is a measure of your personal power. Your attention is a measure of your personal power, meaning that your ability to hold, control, and focus your attention. Remember, we talked about your attention is forceful in proportion to the narrowness of its focus. We talked about the garden hose and how when the hose is just flowing, it's just wide and it's kind of gentle, right? But when it's concentrated into a forceful stream, that's when you can actually use it to clean things. It has this almost laser-like focus. There's a thin beam of water, a thin beam of attention. And that attention is power. It is your personal power. And Neville is saying here, your imagination is able to do anything, and specifically all that you ask of it in proportion to the degree of your attention. All progress, Neville writes, all fulfillment of desire depend upon the control and concentration of your attention. The control and concentration of your attention. Attention may be either attracted from without or directed from within. Attracted from without, right? So this is where you see a shiny object and suddenly your attention is pulled to something over here in your world. Or directed from within is where it doesn't matter what is showing up on the screen of your world. It is your inner force that is directing and orchestrating the flow and direction of your attention. Neville writes, attention is attracted from without when you are consciously occupied with the external impressions of the immediate present. So if your attention is being pulled in this moment, it is being pulled by the external impressions of the immediate present. Basically what that means is that's the shiny objects in your area where someone calls your name and right here, right now, your attention is suddenly moved and now you're focused on, a conversation with someone. That's when your attention is attracted from without. Neville also writes, the very lines of this page are attracting your attention from without. So all that you see, all that you hear, even that which you read is attracting your attention from the outside. Your attention is directed from within when you deliberately choose what you are preoccupied with mentally. Your attention is directed from within when you deliberately choose what you will be preoccupied with mentally. So when I'm not paying attention to the world around me, and when I'm choosing my preoccupation, right, I'm choosing that which my attention is focused upon, and I'm choosing it from within. It's not being attracted from without. I'm being the choice maker, right? I'm choosing to direct. I'm sitting in the director's chair of my attention. I'm choosing what track my mind is running down, what track my thoughts will follow. It is obvious, Neville writes, that in the objective world, your attention is not only attracted by, but is constantly directed to external impressions. But your control in the subjective state is almost non-existent. For in this state, attention is usually the servant and not the master, the passenger and not the navigator of your world. So this is taking this idea of attention and it's breaking it down into a different framework for understanding what attention is and the part that it plays in our inner and outer experiences, our experiences of our world. So in our subjective state, attention is usually the servant and not the master, right? So it's following something else. It's serving something else. It's the passenger and not the navigator, right? So it's along for the ride. Is our attention along for the ride, or is our attention driving the ride, choosing the direction of the ride, choosing the navigating? Neville writes, there is an enormous difference between attention directed objectively and attention directed subjectively. And the capacity to change your future depends upon the latter. The capacity to change your future, right? To manifest what you desire to manifest, to consciously control your destiny, depends upon your subjective control of your attention, right? Your ability to direct your control from within. That's what subjective means, to direct your control from within, rather than allowing something outside of you to direct it for you. That would be the objective. When you are able to control the movements of your attention in the subjective world, you can modify or alter your life as you please, because this is the power of choice. And you're choosing what you are watering with the energy of your attention. Again, attention, the most valuable currency we have. When we're in control of that budget of attention, we're able to modify and alter the course of events in our life as we please. But this control cannot be achieved, Neville writes, if you allow your attention to be attracted constantly from without. If you're chasing every shiny object, you won't have the focus necessary to direct or alter the course of events in your life. Each day, set yourself the task of deliberately withdrawing your attention from the objective world, the world around us, and focusing it deliberately, subjectively. Choosing the focus. In other words, concentrate on those thoughts or moods which you deliberately determine. So rather than having your attention be the subject of something that is ruling from out there, right? Become your own ruler of your attention and choose consciously and deliberately where your attention goes. Which thoughts and moods. Moods is a key word here. Catch the mood. We'll talk about that more coming up, but moods is a key idea here. It's not just a feeling. It's not just an idea. It's not just a thought that manifests or selects, right? It's a mood. There's a mood that goes along with your desired state of being. And you can choose to focus upon that mood. And when you deliberately determine what that mood is, this is the secret. Then those things that now restrict you will fade and drop away. You will transcend circumstances when you learn to deliberately control the movements of your attention. You will transcend circumstances because you are now the navigator. You are now the navigator of the events in your life because you're choosing how you're directing your attention as you're moving throughout the flow of life in your world. The day you achieve control of the movements of your attention in the subjective world, in the inner world, that day you are master of your fate. Sounds like graduation from the University of Attention, right? When you achieve control of the movements of your attention, when you are unable to be distracted by the outside world, when you are so focused, so dwelling in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you're in that mood, you are that mood, and nothing can distract you from it. That is the day you have graduated and you are now master of your fate. You will no longer accept the dominance of outside conditions or circumstances. Isn't that what we all want? To rise above the seeming dominance of outside conditions or circumstances? How many people do you know right now that are living according to the dominance or under the dominance of outside or external conditions or circumstances? It's most of the world, but it's fewer by the day because more and more people are discovering this truth. More and more people are discovering that the inner world creates the outer world, and that by mastering the movements of the attention in the inner world, you can become master of your fate. The world is waking up. You will no longer accept the dominance of outside conditions or circumstances. You will not accept life on the basis of the world without, the world out there. Is the world out there determining your life, or are you determining your life? What did you come here to do? Did you come here to be blown around by the winds of fate? Or did you come here to be the steadfast captain piloting your ship? No matter what the rising tides, no matter what the rising crashing waves, you are the master of your fate. You are the master. You are the helmsman, right? And you are guiding with a steady hand the movements of your attention, no matter the world crashing around you. Having achieved control of the movements of your attention and having discovered the mystery hid from the ages, that Christ in you is your imagination, you will assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. You will assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. How do we do that? It is an awareness. It is an awareness of cause and effect and the relationship between them. And it is awareness that this universe is consciousness first and everything merging out of consciousness. That right there is a model of reality. And that's the first step. Adopting this model of reality that consciousness is first, consciousness is cause, and the whole vast multidimensional universe is the effect. I am the cause. You are the cause. We are the cause of our world. The world is our effect. That's the conclusion of this chapter. I have a prompt for you. What are you choosing to be the cause of in your world? What are you planting and growing and watering with the movements of your attention? Leave me a comment below. Share for the purpose of encouraging yourself, and also give a gift to those who will read these comments. Tap that thumbs up button so that other people will find this teaching, and subscribe to this channel so that you get Daily Neville tomorrow. That's all for now. As always, imagine wisely, my friends, and I'll see you in the next.